right. Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome back to Missouri Mayhem, Mystery and Murder. I'm Megan.
And I'm Mindy.
And we are back with part 2 of Bobby Greenlease today.
Yes, we are. Very interesting story. Hope you joined us last week for the beginning of it.
Yeah, if you didn't join us for part 1, we highly recommend you go back and listen to that first. Basically, we're dealing with a kidnapping in 1953 of Bobby Greenlease Jr. He was the son of a very wealthy car dealership owner, and he was kidnapped in 1953 by Bonnie and Carl. They had known this family or met this family Carl had back in military school and basically concocted this big plan to abduct Bobby and get some money, lots of money. And so we left off, sadly, they kidnapped Bobby. They buried him in Bonnie's backyard, and now they are getting ready to create this ransom letter. And we're going to find out exactly what these murderers want and what's going to happen from then on out.
That's right.
Are we ready, Mindy?
I'm ready. Are you ready, Megan?
I'm ready.
You were born ready.
I was born ready. Woo!
You so were. Okay.
Here I go. Let's get started. This is part 2 of Bobby Greenlease Jr. Here we go.
Here we go.
But this all took a few hours to coordinate, and the kidnapping did not go out publicly or be announced publicly until 3 p.m. that day.
So he left the school that morning, and then nothing about him really happened until 3 p.m.
So, right. So he's been gone about 4 hours at this point by the time the public hears what's happened. And at this point, we know, sadly, he's been killed several hours before. So while the parents are being notified that Bobby's missing and they're talking with the police, the murderers have killed their son, wrapped him in a plastic sheet, put him in the back of the station wagon, and now they have driven on their way back to Kansas City, and they have now stopped at a tavern.
Are you fucking kidding me?
To have some drinks. The same tavern.
Oh, you need a drink after doing all that?
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
You're a little worn out.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And this is the same tavern that Bonnie stopped at that morning before she hailed the taxi to go get Bobby out of school. So they're drinking 24/7, nonstop. Bonnie
all the time.
and Carl, they're nonstop. And while they're there, Bonnie's the one that goes into the tavern and is bringing drinks back and forth out to Carl because
out to the car
because Carl's covered in blood. So Carl's like, I can't go in.
You can't even do that now.
Yeah.
Can't take drinks outside of the
bar. Right. So I didn't even think about that. And while they're there, they switch license plates. They grab some license plates off a car in the parking lot and they switch them up on the station wagon. And all this while, Bobby is dead in the back of the station wagon.
The whole time they're just drinking at the bar, partying it up, and they've got a dead 6-year-old in the back.
Yeah. Assholes. So once they left the tavern in Kansas City, they drove back to Bonnie's house in St. Joe. So they've been in Kansas City, abducted, kidnapped the boy, went to Johnson County, killed the boy, drove back to Kansas City, had some drinks, and now they're like, let's go to Bonnie's house in St. Joe. Well, there's
the body still in the trunk.
Correct. And there's a reason why. Because when they get to Bonnie's house in St. Joe, that she got in her divorce, they back into the basement garage. They have a garage that is attached to the house, and they back into the basement garage, and they carry Bobby's body through the house so they're not seen by anyone. And they take him into Bonnie's backyard, and they bury him in a grave that Carl had dug the day before.
Oh,
so
premeditated, big time.
Absolutely. So,
oh my gosh, that's horrible.
That makes me think then that Bonnie.
How do you even sleep? Okay, let's talk about this child we're going to kidnap. Let's dig a hole and then let's go to bed. See you tomorrow when we do all this. No,
yes.
What?
Yes. And then stopping for drinks.
Almost like celebrating it.
Yes. And this makes me believe then that Bonnie knew, obviously, that he was going to kill Bobby.
Yeah.
Because if he's digging a hole in the backyard of your house,
she's just as bad.
Complacent and just as bad as him. So while Bonnie finishes burying Bobby in her backyard, so she's burying Bobby, Carl's like, I've got to drive back to Kansas City again and get a ransom letter postmarked before the end of the day. So they haven't even written a ransom letter, sadly, and the child's already died. And we're talking about, getting close to the evening on this same day in September. So he drives back to, so he drives to Kansas City to postmark a ransom note, postmarks the ransom note, drives back to St. Joe.
It's a lot of stuff.
A lot
just
of back
to
and
kill
forth.
a child.
An innocent child. And of course, on the way back to St. Joe from Kansas City, he stops at another bar for more alcohol.
Are you kidding?
That's what I'm saying. They are in a
Can
drunken
you not just get a six-pack and get on the road with it?
Yeah, no.
You got to go into every bar and get drunk.
No. So he gets back to St. Joe where Bonnie's waiting, and they spend the evening watching TV and drinking heavily. All the while, Bobby's buried in the backyard. And they're not even thinking for 1 second what his family's going through at this moment.
They do not care. And this frightens me that there's people out there like this. I mean, I know our whole podcast is actually based really literally about bad people that do bad things. But some of them just blow me away.
I know.
What you would do.
And have no guilty conscience afterwards of any kind.
Like Chris Watts.
Yes.
I mean, that whole thing, just what? Anyway.
Yes, 100%. Same with Susan Smith.
Yeah.
And what was her name? Andrea. She drowned her kids.
Oh
in
my
the
gosh,
bathtub.
5 of them.
Yes.
They were ages from 5 to baby.
Yeah.
She just, yeah.
No conscience.
No.
So you probably want to know what the ransom note said.
Yes.
So, okay, on September 28th, still same day, remember, we've had so much happen in this one day. The ransom letter arrives at the Greenlease home around 8 p.m. that evening. And the letter demanded $600,000. And in today's world, that's going to be around $7 million. So again, they're worth about $24 million. They want $7 million.
Yeah.
And their request stated they wanted this $600,000 in $10 and $20 bills, and they wanted it gathered from all 12 Federal Reserve districts across the U.S. Now I'm like, what does that mean? So, I'm like 12. Now I know what a Federal Reserve is. So I'm like, okay, I know we have a Federal Reserve in Kansas City. So I'm like, well, let me look this up.
Is that the same as a mint?
Basically. So basically what this is, same thing, is these federal districts were created to help decentralize the U.S.'s currency system. So basically, we don't want all our money coming out of Washington, D.C. or all our money coming out of New York. It's like a checks and balances type thing. So there are actually 12 districts across the United States that create money, U.S. money. And Kansas City is one of those, Dallas, Boston, Chicago, St. As Francisco. So there's 12 of those all over the United States. And he wanted 10s and 20s from all of those. As part of the ransom. Now, he knew that this was going to take a few days.
Well, okay, so 10s and 20s, because what's the next bill higher than that? 100? No, a 50.
No, a 50.
50. But anything higher than a 20, they're going to, back then, check.
Could be suspicious.
To see if it's real money.
Right. So you think he did the 10s and 20s just to make, it'd be easier to spend.
Right, I can go anywhere and nobody's going to, you guys having $100 bill now.
Right. Because you're not just going to, not many people, especially in 53, are paying with $100 bill.
No.
Right. Good point. Yeah. So he told him, he said, I know this is going to take you a few days. He said to get the money together. So here's what I want you to do. 2 things. 1, I want you to write a letter and put it in the Kansas City Star within the next couple days saying you received my ransom letter. And I want you also to give me a signal that you received the letter by driving up and down Main Street in Kansas City with a white rag tied to their car antenna.
So he wants the family to do that?
Yeah. So this whole time, he's also assuring them that Bobby is safe and sound.
Oh, and they're just like, we'll do whatever you say.
Yes. What a jerk. He is saying, yes, he's going to be returned home. He's safe. You do these 2 things for me, drive up and down, and he's going to be back safe and soon. I'll be in touch. And he signed the letter M. Like Mindy, Megan, Mayhem, murder, Missouri. He signed it M.
Goodness.
And so, again, all this time,
he's gone.
Yes, we know the boy's already dead, sadly. And he's making them believe these things. And so, So Carl didn't wait long to communicate again. From what I've read and what it seems is Carl got a lot of pleasure out of this whole scene he's creating.
This is so sick.
It is. So the next day, he sends a second letter to the parents. He repeats the same instructions that were in the first letter, but this time he included Bobby's Jerusalem medal from school.
Oh.
According to Sister Mirand, when she went to get Bobby out of his classroom that day to go with his supposed aunt, he said, "Can I take my Jerusalem medal home with me today?"
Oh my gosh.
And Sister Mirand said, "Well, of course you can take your Jerusalem medal."
So he had that with him.
And Carl had taken it off of his body while burying him. What a sick motherfucker. Yes. Sicko.
What a dick.
Sicko.
Like that poor kid.
So they get the second letter.
Parents.
Yeah, they get the second letter with this medal. Of course, they're hoping they can believe this. Over the next...
He wanted to mail that to them.
Oh, yeah.
As proof that he had him.
Yeah, he's like, yep, see, proof. Mm-hmm. Well, he doesn't just keep sending them letters. Over the next few days, he even calls their house, starts calling their house to confirm that they're receiving the ransom notes and things. So not only
my mail.
Yeah. So not only is your kidnapper now harassing you with ransom letters, he's now calling the house.
And they're answering every call because back then you didn't have cell phones. And so your landline was all you had and you were missing a child. Like you're going to answer it.
Yes.
And this is what they answer to.
Well, and I'm sure they were just sitting there by the phone, just waiting, And so he would give them further instructions and again, continuing to reassure them that Bobby's going to come home safe and sound. According to Larry Wood's book, That Wicked Women of Missouri.
Yes.
Carl even joked during one of the calls that Bobby was really earning his ransom because he is so mischievous. Can you believe that bullshit?
Okay, where's Bobby's body at this time? Is it still in the freaking backseat?
No, remember
in the trunk.
No, remember they've buried.
They buried him. That's right.
Yeah,
that's
remember.
Right.
So he's sorry. No, that's okay. It's a lot of information. He's buried Bobby.
Okay, so
in
Bobby's
the backyard
buried,
of Bonnie's backyard. Yes. Yeah, but he's telling him, "Oh, he's so mischievous, so he's really earning him." We're really
are evil.
Yes, and here's what's
evil
interesting too is his family. They wanted to believe so bad he was alive, but in their minds, they're like, that doesn't sound...
It's a lot easier to believe they're alive.
For sure. And they also, in their minds, they're like, Bobby's not the mischievous type. Like, they thought that was odd, but they're wanting to believe anything. And they're like, really? He's going to be mischievous?
Well, they said mischievous because they want to make it look like Bobby's alive and lively and doing lively kid things, like being mischievous.
And we're being good to him and treating him well. Yeah. So, again, more bullshit. So, of course, during these first few days after they've murdered Bobby, they're drinking, drunk all the time. So on Thursday, October 1st, 3 days later, so this happens, the abduction and killing happens on September 28th. Mm-hmm. So on October 1st, 3 days later, Bonnie rents a 1952 Ford sedan in St. Joe. And they drive these separate cars to Kansas City. So Bonnie's driving one car, the rental, and Carl's driving her station wagon.
Which is the car.
Correct. And when they get back to Kansas City, Carl steals more plates and puts them on the rental vehicle. They're constantly, of course, exchanging and changing plates and all that bullshit.
Just random strangers' plates.
Yes. So they've got 2 cars here in Kansas City. So meanwhile, Bobby's family, again, is still holding out hope. They're like, right now, we can only believe he's alive and he's coming home. And they're trying to get $600,000 together. And even for a rich family,
that's a lot.
To get that much money together today, again, that would be $7 million. You got to do some things. So I think this is a very interesting fact. With the help of President Eisenhower's brother, Arthur, Robert Greenlease Sr. and some of his associates gathered the money requested in the ransom note. Because you figure, 12 districts, and they're trying to get all this money from...
How long did it take him to get all that money?
Well, we're guessing 2 to 3 days here.
Yeah.
And so, shockingly, during the first few days, there was not much information in the press about this, even though reporters were trying to find it, because I think the police were hoping this would resolve itself quickly.
Sure.
And, hi, Jersey. And I think they were hoping it would resolve itself quickly And of course, it didn't. And eventually, of course, the news and information is going to get out to the reporters that this has happened. And this becomes a story that, again, as we said earlier, it becomes a national sensation.
It's okay. She's fine.
Jersey. If you hear
getting puppy
Jersey's
kisses.
tail, yeah, Mindy's getting lots of kisses. But it starts to rival the Lindbergh baby kidnapping.
Oh my gosh, I remember hearing about that. What year did that happen?
So that happened in 1932.
Okay.
So this is like 20 years before. But that was a huge thing.
And he was just kidnapped right out of his crib, right?
Yes. So just if you don't know about the Lindbergh baby kidnapping, this happened in New Jersey in 1932. And basically, the Lindbergh baby was 20-month-old Charles Lindbergh Jr. And he was abducted from his home.
So almost 2 years old.
Correct. Abducted from his home in New Jersey, March of 1932. And the person who was captured and convicted was German carpenter Bruno Richard Hauptmann. Said Lindbergh paid a ransom, that his son was never returned and was found dead weeks later. And again, immense national attention, and it led to what we're going to hear a little bit about later, what's known as the Lindbergh Law. So we'll talk more about that in a little bit. But this had happened 20 years before, been a huge thing. They've created now what's called the Lindbergh Law. And so this story about Bobby Greenlease Jr. in Kansas City basically becomes kind of just as big as that at the time. You know? So after waiting a few days for the family to get the money, Carl calls the Greenlease house several times over the following days, trying to kind of coordinate.
Oh my gosh. I think that's something that murderers or kidnappers do, is either revisit the site or call it.
Yes.
We're going to do a case later on. It's going to include that. But
yes, they do. Or they say they'll attend the funeral.
Yes.
And so please
just to see if anybody's on to them.
Yeah.
Like, am I secured today? I don't know. Let's go to the funeral.
They also say they get a little pleasure out of going to a funeral sometimes to see what they've done. Like that sadistic, isn't that awful?
Yeah.
It's crazy. So he's calling the house over these few days. And when he calls, he actually even talks to Virginia, the mom.
Sketchy mom. She's sketchy?
No. No, Virginia's not sketchy. Bonnie's sketchy. Okay. Virginia's Bobby's mom. It's okay. There's lots of... We do not think Virginia Greenlease is sketchy at all.
At all.
She's a good mom from what we can
tell. Virginia.
So he calls and he talks to Virginia a few times, which is crazy. Can you imagine being that mom? And what he's doing is he's keeping their family and friends. He's having them drive all over Kansas City, finding like hidden notes and clues.
It's cruel.
In a way to figure out exactly how he can get the money, like the delivery. What is it going to be? And so he's like, okay, you need to go here and pick up this note, and then you're going to go here and do this. I mean, just cruel, running them all over Kansas City. I mean, by the time he was done, I mean, there were like dozens of notes and things. I mean, he's getting satisfaction out of this.
Yes.
So finally, they arrange a drop off that Carl feels good about. And finally, at midnight on Sunday, October 4th. So we're talking about 6 days since the kidnapping. And again, they still believe he's alive.
Right.
At midnight on Sunday, October 4th, 2 of Greenlease's associates dropped off the $600,000 in a duffel bag near a bridge on Lee Summit Road and Highway 40 east of Kansas City. So I kind of know where that's at. Only because when I student taught, I had to drive like that area along Highway 40. But yeah, it's not that far from Kansas City. And after watching the associates leave, he was hiding down the street. So he's hiding down the street, watching the drop.
Oh, see, once again, you couldn't hide down the street now because we've got cameras and stuff. But then you could hide anywhere you want.
Yeah, absolutely. And so he was hiding down the street. And after he waited for a bit, making sure everybody was gone around 12:30 a.m., he grabbed the money. He runs to the Ford rental that he has parked down the street as well, throws the money in, and Bonnie's in there, drunk as a skunk, waiting for him.
God.
Yeah. So here they are, Bonnie and Clyde, Bonnie and Carl, with the money, the duffel in their Ford rental. Now, she begs him to please take her back to St. Joe.
She's done?
No, she's not done. I know, shockingly, but she wants to go back to St. Joe before they start like going on the run. because
clean up some stuff.
I think she wants to grab some of her things, go to her house, get her
clean
stuff.
up some of the scene or stuff that might have been in the scene.
Yes. I mean, she was really adamant, but Carl would have none of it. He's like, we are not going back to St. Joe. We are running now.
Now.
Yes. And he wants to run to St. Louis.
Okay.
So in the early hours of Monday, October 5th, the couple drives across Missouri and arrives in St. Louis around 6 a.m. Okay.
Okay.
So in the early hours of Monday, October 5th, they're in this rental car, they drive across Missouri, and they arrive in St. Louis around 6 a.m. And where is the first place they go?
Ooh, let me guess. The bar.
Correct. They find a tavern. And while there, Carl calls a man by the name of Barney Patton, who lives back in St. Joe. And he considers Barney his friend, a confidant, and Barney also happens to be a lawyer. And he asks Barney, hey, is there any way you can destroy the record showing that Bonnie rented this Ford truck or Ford vehicle back there in St. Joe, that they drove to Kansas City? He said, is there any way you can get rid of that? And Barney's like, no, I'm not helping you do that. So good on Barney.
Good for you.
Now, I don't believe he knows why at this point.
Yeah.
They rented the car and he wants help. I don't think we're assuming Patton doesn't really know what's going on.
No, all the details.
I think he knows Carl tends to get into trouble, but so he won't help. So Carl goes and buys new luggage, puts the money in the new luggage, and just throws the duffel bag in a trash can on the street. He has become super paranoid because he thinks that the two men that dropped off the money, maybe he's worried they circled back around after they left. Maybe they saw us pick the money up. So he's getting really paranoid.
Yes.
With no proof, but he's freaking out.
Yeah.
He thinks somebody noticed them. And so they end up abandoning the rental car there in St. Louis. And he calls Barney again and says, hey, I've abandoned the rental car. Can you come pick it up and turn it back in? So Barney did do that for him.
Okay.
So he used some of the ransom money to buy a used car in St. Louis, and it was a 1947 Nash.
Whoa.
And if you look up this car, Nash, it is a sweet ass car.
It is?
It is cool looking.
A Nash?
Yes.
And it's made by who?
Honestly, I can't remember.
A 1947 Nash.
Yeah, it was a pretty cool car. Terry and I looked it up. But
I'm going to look that up.
Yeah. So they rent this new car, and Bonnie, of course, drunk, they're on stuff. We don't know. I mean, they're both barely coherent most of the time. While he's getting the car with the ransom cash, she rents them an apartment off of Arsenal Street in St. Louis.
Okay.
So let's think about this whole thing here really quickly. So first of all, do you think they had to run?
Carl and Bonnie?
Yeah. Let's think so what if they would have just taken the cash and driven back to St. Joe and laid low?
Right.
Because at this point, do they know anything about Bonnie and Carl?
Right. They could have absolutely gotten away with it.
I mean, I'm saying, is there anything I'm missing, do you think, to where there is a reason why they didn't, I mean, they didn't have to run, right?
Well, something else might have happened.
Okay.
That we don't know about.
Yeah, because I'm like, okay. And then also, like, where are the police?
And all this.
Yes. Like, I get that you want to do the secret drop off and you want to make sure, like, you're following through with what's being demanded. But the fact that they're able to rent and drive here and there, they're all over the place.
This sounds exhausting.
Oh,
to be these people.
Oh, Lord.
To plan out this and do all that. And now this.
Yeah.
Like, they have planned all this out. Oh my gosh, it's so horrible.
Horrible. And then
who would choose to
this is how
like
you
that?
Choose to get your money?
Yeah.
This is what you think is the easiest to get away with? And
yes.
So anyways, I got to thinking, I'm like, did they have to run? I don't know. Maybe they did. But I also thought, what if they'd have just gone back to the St. Joe house and laid low? I mean, now, eventually, tips might have come in, but and they may have had to eventually go on the run, but I don't know. So, and again, they're obviously not thinking rationally.
Bonnie and Clyde.
For real. So Bonnie's passed out in the apartment on Arsenal Street. Carl is freaking out and worried they're going to get caught. And so he decides to spend the next couple days taking taxi cabs all over St. Louis, trying to find a place to hide the money. Drinking, they think taking drugs.
I wonder what he's using to carry the money around.
Well, they said he bought new luggage when they got to St. Louis. But yeah, I'm just picturing.
Probably bought like a little 1950 briefcase.
Yeah, that's what I'm picturing.
Little leather thing.
I'm picturing
full of cash.
Grandma at Virginia, she had a blue old school suitcase.
Oh,
and it latches and clicks. And that's what I'm thinking. Yes. But it said he bought new luggage and got rid of the duffel bag. So he's trying to find a hiding spot for this and riding in this taxi. So he ends up during the next day or two, he befriends one of the taxi drivers whose name is John Hager. And Hager's like, I'll chauffeur you around town. I don't know what you're doing, but you tip really well.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
Here's a hundy for you.
Yeah. He tips.
Oh, no, he didn't have hundreds. Here's 420.
He kind of befriends. They kind of befriend each other. John likes the tips. And Carl's like, okay, great. I got me a chauffeur here. And so they're driving around town. So the afternoon of August 6th, John Hager, the cab driver, he's like, I think. So October 6th. What did I say?
August 6th.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. October 6th. That would have really created chaos. Like there's not chaos already. So the afternoon of October 6th, John starts to suspect that Carl might be involved with the Greenlease kidnapping. Because at this point, it's all over the news. And you figure they've only gone to St. Louis. They're still in Missouri. And Carl told John his name was Steve Strand. And John immediately thought that was bogus. Like he didn't believe it. Yes. He's just like, he didn't believe it. And then, of course, this guy is like hugging the suitcase, basically. He's sitting back there with the suitcase. And so John's like, okay, this is weird. And the fact he's giving him really good tips. And so John is suspicious, to say the least. Yeah. So we get a few conflicting reports here, but either John Hager called the police at around 3:30 on October 6th, or John called his boss at the taxi company, reported it, and the taxi boss. So either way, it was reported around that time on October 6th. Okay. So in the meantime, which I found this interesting, instead of Carl going back and continuing to party or hang out with Bonnie at the apartment on Arsenal Street, in the meantime, he's went and got his own room at the Townhouse Hotel. He's either got his own room there or he's there hanging out at the bar, because that's where the police arrest him at 7:30 p.m. on October 6th.
So we don't know if he was in the bar part or had his own room.
Correct.
But he was at a bar.
He was at a bar. Yes. And so Hall himself, later that night, tells police, I can lead you to Bonnie. She's on Arsenal Street, this apartment, this floor. Yeah. Totally flipped on Bonnie the minute he was arrested.
Threw her under the bus.
And remember what he had promised her from the beginning.
Oh, yes.
Oh, I won't tell you it was all my idea. And
yes.
Don't believe
I
that.
guess it was Bonnie behind it.
Yes. And
so wrong.
So the police recover the ransom money from the suitcase that Carl has. But guess what?
What?
Should have been close to $600,000 in that suitcase, minus booze and the car they bought.
Right.
$300,000 of it, half of it was missing.
Just gone.
And the convicts swore up and down. Now, why you believe convicts, but they swear.
We are really, really good convicts. We would not lie to you.
We would not steal.
We would not.
Wow. The convicts swore that besides the small amount they wasted on booze and the hotel rooms and the car, but otherwise they're like, no, it was all in there.
So they either spent it all or someone stole it from them.
Yeah. So this is interesting. There are so many theories
about this money.
Yes, of course. This missing $300,000.
Oh my gosh. Where do you think it is?
Well, my initial thought was, well, Carl had probably already hid it around town.
Sure, that's I'm just going to stash this.
A little
and
here.
Nobody will know, not even Bonnie.
Right.
And I'm just going to have that. So, yeah, when it goes down, I can grab that and leave.
Yes. So I'm like, okay, maybe he kind of took some. I also thought it could be the taxi driver.
Yeah.
Now, the thought on that is, though, like, when would he have been alone with the money? I'm sure Carl didn't let it out of his sight.
Okay, wait. Now, the money was thrown out of a car, right?
No.
Initially. The money was in a duffel bag.
So the money was in a duffel bag that they left at that location where they picked it up. And then when they got to St. Louis, Carl bought new luggage to put it in.
Was the $300,000 in there when they got to St. Louis?
Right. So all 600,000, they claim all the money was there, that they only took out money to buy the car and the booze. And so when Carl was arrested and the police took the bag, the luggage, and counted the money, there was only 300,000. And so the police, are like, where is it?
Yeah.
So again, he could have hid half of it. The taxi driver somehow could have taken some, I thought.
Or they could have worked together and said, hey, let's take 300,000. We'll split 150
exactly,
each, and we'll call it a day.
When I get out of jail, I'll contact you or whatever. Some also suggested that the officers that arrested Carl may have skimmed some money off of it.
Yeah.
And actually, as I started to look into this further, because I'm like, oh, that's interesting. And then I kind of went on and thought, oh, that'll be a fun, interesting theory to think about. And I'm like, well, let's look into that. So 2 St. Louis police officers were actually charged and convicted of perjury regarding this money.
Okay.
So according to people.com, suitcases in Hall's possession, suitcases in Hall's possession, upon his arrest were not brought to the precinct by the 2 main officers. So the 2 main officers were Lieutenant Shoulders and Patrolman Dolan. And Shoulders and Dolman told a grand jury that the $288,000 that they turned over was the full amount seized from Hall when he was arrested. So they claim that's what was in there.
Initially. And there was nothing taken except what they already spent.
Right. And so what they end up finding out was that statement from Shoulders and Dolan was actually false. And in fact, they alleged that Shoulders, the lieutenant, had taken the rest of the money and basically hid it. They basically alleged that Shoulders had taken the balance of the $600 ransom that Hall had on him.
I can absolutely see where that would happen.
Yes.
So easily.
Yes. They were both federally indicted and convicted of perjury for lying, but they never say, like, I never could find, like, what did they do with the money? Where is it? What happened? Like, it just said they were convicted of perjury.
It's like D.B. Cooper's money.
What? Yeah. He was convicted. Shoulders, 3 years in prison. Dolan went to prison for 2 years. Finally, in 1962, so almost over 10 years later, Dolan, who was the patrolman on duty that night, informed the police that he had perjured because he was afraid of Lieutenant Shoulders and what he would do to him. So it sounds like he was kind of bullied by the other police officer. And believe it or not, he received a full pardon. Dolan did, the patrolman, from U.S. President Lyndon B. Johnson in 1965. So anyways, that's a long rambling, but it sounds like the police were shady.
It does. It really does.
Which I'm finding is the case sometimes, which makes me very sad.
Well, it is sad because we need help.
Right. You want to be able to trust the people you call for help.
Yes.
So back at the police station, while being interrogated, Carl admitted, he said, I planned the kidnapping. We both carried out the plan, and that he had buried Bobby's body in Bonnie's backyard. But he says when they kidnapped Bobby, they gave him to a third party, to a guy named Tom Marsh.
What? A third party?
This is bullshit. After he was kidnapped, and Marsh is the one that killed Bobby. So they were the kidnappers, but they weren't the killers.
Okay.
And Bonnie admits that she picked up Bobby from school, but Carl told her that Bobby was his son from a previous marriage. So she's made up this story. Oh, yeah, I went and got him because Carl said it was his son. Yeah. She also claimed she didn't know anything about Bobby being killed.
Yeah.
And Paul backed her up on that by claiming it's this Marsh guy. So.
Did they ever take a polygraph?
I never did read that, and you'll find out why here in a second. But so they do admit to some of the things, and they do lead them to Bobby's body in St. Joe in Bonnie's backyard, and that was recovered the morning of October 7th, and services were held the following Friday, October 9th. It's awful.
Yes.
So finally, after sitting in jail for 2 days, on October 11th, Carl's like, come in here. I'm ready to just tell the whole truth.
I'm just done.
I'm ready. Just get in here. Let me just tell you.
Oh.
So here's what Carl says. And again, there's some details in here that might be hard to listen to. But he says, Tom Marsh doesn't exist. I made him up. He's a fictitious character that I made up to try and throw you guys off.
Oh, my God.
That's according to the FBI and Terry. And so Bonnie followed suit and said, yeah, true. I admit my full part in the kidnapping and killing. I mean, they both just say, yep, we did it. We confess. Immediately after they confessed, they were charged in federal court in Kansas City. And this is where they were charged under that Lindbergh kidnapping law.
Yes.
So after the Lindbergh baby kidnapping, there was now a federal law saying that it's a federal crime to cross borders during a kidnapping. Like when you take someone across borders, I mean, it's bad enough.
How about you just don't take them at all?
Perfect. That would be great. But if you do and you take them across borders,
it's even more trouble.
You can be charged with the death penalty.
Really?
So that's the big catch here is the fact that if they
would then or still.
Correct. Well, still. So that's still, I think, a law. But, you know, of course, the state has to have the death penalty.
Yeah.
But, yeah, if they would have just kept him, if they would have stayed in Missouri, they might have just got like life in prison. But since they went into Kansas and then brought him back into Missouri because they killed him in Kansas, it now makes them eligible for the death penalty, which to me,
you know, that's justice.
Karma.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
especially a little 6-year-old.
Yes. Evidence presented in court during the trial, they had blood from the basement floor and from the steps of Bonnie's house, which were Bobby's.
And they did not have DNA back then, but they just assumed it was his, right?
Well, and they had blood. They could test his blood and blood type They found a nylon blouse with blood on it, a rug, and they found a .38 caliber shell case in the floor of Bonnie's Plymouth station wagon, and it matched Hall's gun. So they're pretty sure that was, you know, he shot first and missed.
Mm-hmm. And so he did it in the backseat of the car.
Correct. In the car. Yes. They both pled guilty in a Kansas City courtroom on October 30th. And again, we're looking at literally now a month since all this has happened. Within a month, he's been kidnapped, killed. They've gone through all this. They're pleading guilty. Now on October 30th, they plead guilty. Their trial began on November 16th. Can you believe that? 2 weeks later.
And so where are they? Are they in jail during that?
Just wait. Oh, yes. So they are in jail during this time.
For their trial.
Correct. But you know, nowadays, I mean, their trial started 2 weeks after they pled guilty. Nowadays, it'd take 2 years.
I know.
Yeah, which is sad. So on November 16th, they began their trial. And 3 days later, a jury came back quickly, recommends the death penalty for both of them. And the judge sets their execution date for just a month later, December 18th. He said, this is one of the most heinous crimes I have ever seen.
Once you gone immediately.
Yes, and we are not wasting any time. And if the death penalty ever applied, it applies to this case. Yeah. So.
So, are they dead?
Well, first of all, do you think they had any remorse?
No.
Good call, because it says, although Hall pretended to be remorseful while he was on death row.
His whole life.
Yeah. Most people said this is an act,
mm-hmm.
just like his other acts. He's not sincere. So nobody believed that. There were some people in Bonnie's camp that really did say they thought she was truly sorry for what she did.
Yeah.
And of course, blamed it on all the stuff that had happened in her life, which is not an excuse.
No.
But then there was also
Bonnie had the opportunity to change that anytime she wanted to.
She could have walked in that school and told Sister Moran, there's someone wanting me to kidnap him. Call the police. He's sitting down at Kat's drugstore right now waiting for us.
Yes.
But she did not. Again, so many think she was sorry, but then there's also the other side, like there always is, who say the only thing she regretted was getting caught. And that she, until well, you'll see, until the end of her life, she would bring up, and it wasn't that long, just a month or so, but she mentioned while on death row several times that she was pissed at Hall because she said he botched it by shooting the boy instead of strangling him. Yeah.
Oh my
That's
God.
really all she was mad about was this.
Which strangling is such a,
oh,
longer, horrible
painful,
process.
I would assume.
Oh, God, that just makes me sick.
So listen to this. So Bonnie and Carl die side by side in Missouri State Prison's gas chamber shortly after midnight on their death date, December 18th. I don't know about you, but why'd they let them die side by side?
So tell me this again. So they got the death penalty, which is by gas.
Correct.
So they allowed them to die together next to each other
in the gas chamber. I wouldn't have given them that.
What the fuck ever? You get no options here.
Why would they give them that?
Why aren't you electrocuted instead of, I'm sorry, but you do that to a little boy?
You deserve pain.
Yes.
Bonnie Hetty was the first and only woman to die in the Missouri State Prison gas chamber. It ran from 1937 to 1989 and killed 40 people that were on death row. 39 were men and 1 was a woman. Bonnie. And here's an interesting fact. Bonnie is one of only 4 women to have ever been, and this is as of 2021, so this might be different now, but as of 2021, there had only been 4 women ever executed by federal authorities.
Really? She being one of them?
She was one of them. Lincoln assassinator conspirator Mary Surratt was hung. Ethel Rosenberg, along with her husband Julius, they were convicted of being Soviet spies and executed by the electric chair in 1953.
Okay.
So Mary Surratt, Ethel Rosenberg, Bonnie Hetty, and then the 4th one,
who?
And I'm actually doing this case not too long from now, is Lisa Montgomery of Kansas, who executed a Missouri woman in January of 2021.
So we're going to cover that one?
That is the murder of Bobby Joe Stinnett.
Okay.
And her baby.
Yep, that's right, you wanted to talk.
So, which is wild. But Lisa Montgomery is one of the 4 to have been executed by federal authorities. I thought that was wild.
Wow, yeah.
Yeah. So, and it was also Missouri's only double gas execution.
Yeah.
So why would you give them that? That just makes them more infamous.
To lay side by side
and look at each other.
Let me guess, they got to hold hands too.
Does that not sound like a movie or what?
It does. Let's let them hold hands. No, those hands killed a 6-year-old.
No. I mean, this kidnapping of Bobby Greenlease, it left deep, deep scars for this family. They are still a well-known family. In fact, I was asking Dad, he worked for General Motors. Our dad did for most of the 80s. And I asked him if he knew the Greenlease family.
Yeah.
Have you heard of that since Greenlease family brought GM to the Midwest? And he said, oh yeah, there were dealerships all through the Midwest called Greenlease O'Neill. And he said they were GM Cadillac dealers.
Oh.
So this family, still had a lasting legacy in Kansas City. And they still have a website dedicated to Bobby.
I bet.
And still remember him in different ways.
Yeah.
But he was taken for money, devastated a family. You have millions of dollars unaccounted for.
Yeah. It just is a lot of greed and desperation.
Yeah.
Poor judgment.
And again, multiple opportunities for people
to do the right thing.
Yes. Yes. So, I don't know. Maybe we need to just say our quick.
Just when you think you're crazy, you're like, oh no, I'm not. I am not crazy.
Just when you're like, man, I feel a little crazy. No, our crazy and they're crazy. Totally different level of crazy. But, what do you think about saying a quick prayer for Bobby's family?
I would be fine with that. Do you want to do it?
Sure.
Or do you want me to do it?
I can if you want me to.
Okay,
or do you want to?
You can do this one.
Okay. All right. So we're going to say a quick prayer here for Bobby's family. Dear Lord, just please continue to be with Bobby Greenlease's family as they've been through a lot of pain and tragedy and something they've had to live with forever. We know, we're spending a couple hours today here in the closet talking about it, but we know this family has had to live with this. And so please continue to watch out for them, protect them, and just look out for them. And we appreciate you bringing this case to our attention so that we can keep Bobby Greenlease's name alive and his short life is well remembered. So in all your name, dear Lord, amen.
Amen. Thank you, Megan.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys enjoyed today's case, please stick with us. Like, subscribe. We're on YouTube. We're on Facebook. We are on in terms of listening for our podcast, we are on Amazon, Spotify, Apple. We also have a new community that's on Patreon, which we're really excited about.
Yes.
If you're one of those true crime podcasters that you listen to a podcast and you're like, man, I want to see pictures. I'd love to read those articles that were used as references. Patreon is a great platform where we're able to give you that in a collection. And so you can also be on there just to get like live updates and things like that. So Patreon is kind of our new big community platform. We'd love for you to join us there. And again, just searching Missouri Mayhem. Yeah, mystery and murder. A big shout out to Larry Wood again, the author of Wicked Women in Missouri. I got a lot of good information out of that.
Thank you, Larry.
Yeah, thank you, Larry. So Mindy, you got anything else you want to include before we wrap up our case?
Not really. Just thank you for listening and just have a lovely day.
Yeah, we appreciate you listening. And until next time, stay curious, stay kind, stay safe. And this has been Missouri Mayhem, Mystery and Murder. I'm Megan.
And I'm Mindy.
Missouri, you bring the mystery.
And we'll bring the mayhem.
Peace out.
Peace out.